Good morning, everyone. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Craig Froenig as your host, and bringing on Dr. Mark Christian. He's a founder and executive director of Global Faith Institute, the globalfaithinstitute.org. They're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. And the personal story that Dr. Mark Christian brings to the table is an incredible story. It's rare in its entirety, and we've been so fortunate to have him on as a regular guest. And his 8-book series that he has published and put out, you can find them on his website, globalfaith.org. But it's amazing what he's done, and he explains Islam to Americans, and these books are fantastic. Anyway, Dr. Mark Christian, it's great to have you on this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be on your show, and I really appreciate you and your listeners, to be on every week.
Well, it's great. And, these booklets are very easy to read. They talk about what you're going on there, and then they go right to the top questions, the top 25 questions that Americans would have pertaining to a particular subject. But, the goal of the Global Faith Institute to inspire the lost to the hope of Christ, but to equip America with knowledge of the truth greater than the evils of the age, and to embrace the role of watchmen, that we might sound an alarm for all who will listen. And I think that is so prophetic when you talk about what is going on in our country. And recently, over the weekend, you just put together, you were featured in another article, 2,000 ticking time bombs in the United States. And this is an incredible article with all the experts in it, and the mosques in America. But and 2,800 mosques, 80% of them are being run by the Muslim Brotherhood. But let's stick to your book today, An Insider's View of Islam. Mark, do Americans get it?
No, we do not. For multiple reasons, Greg. The problem is actually you are dealing with a religion, and Americans are tuned from day one of their life and in the history of America to respect other religions and to live along anybody's beliefs or no beliefs whatsoever. And to deal with Islam, which is a completely different kind of a set of rules and ideology that takes advantage of the freedom of religion that America has to offer, and also the mindset of Americans, and take the most advantage and abuse of it. And this is why Americans are not getting it, or not even willing to get it, because they don't want to face the reality that they are dealing with the religion with this kind of a message that is calling for others to die and to kill and to fight and the bloodshed and all that kind of stuff, which is completely opposite of the way that they want to think.
Exactly. And in your first book, An Insider's View of Islam, it's the first of an 8-book series, and you talk about stealth jihad. But related to the Muslims, in this recent article that you were featured in, you bring up an amazing point, and this is something that Americans need to understand. You identify 3 kinds of Muslims. You break that down. Talk about that first, second, and the third type of Muslim, the 3 kinds.
Since we are dealing with a religion and an ideology of a religion, I struggle big time to try to break it down and to make people understand what we are dealing with. And as much as easy it is, people actually refuse to understand or try to even fathom what's going on. And I break down the people of Islam, or the Muslims, the people who follow Islam. And by the way, I'm an ex-Muslim myself. I understand Islam very well, and I was an ex-Imam, and I have Muslims living in my home. There is no one who understands Islam culture and history and so forth more than I do. And I'm so proud of that, and I'm so proud that how God, put me in this position. The point I was trying to raise over here is there is 3 kinds of Muslims. When they are dealing with Islamic teachings, everybody is looking for salvation and better their life and to have an assurance of heaven. And there is 3 kinds of Muslims who are dealing with Islam from that perspective. One, Muslims who decided that they're going to try their best every day to work hard and to do their best to follow the Islamic teachings to the teeth and to live their life as hard as it is to be a witnessing Muslim, but they decided to do it because they are hardworking people. And there is Muslims, the second part, who decided, you know what, they are not going to practice Islam whatsoever. They're going to be Muslim by name only. They will take the consequences of living a life of sin and a Western mindset life, or even a life without a religion whatsoever, just to be Muslim by name only, very similar to Christians who does not really practice their faith, or they even go to church whatsoever. And they are willing to take the consequences of living a life of sin and spend time in hell, and maybe at the end go to heaven, if they keep their name as Muslims. And there is the third group of Muslims that we really have a problem with. Those are the guys who decided that they're going to go and blow themselves up or commit their life to jihad as a shortcut to salvation, only way of assurance of salvation in Islam. And this is why you have terrorists. I actually raised the point that I wish people would pay attention to the background of every terrorist who committed jihad in the West. Every one of them has a life that is not, represent any religion whatsoever. They are living a life of sin from a perspective of Islam more than anything else. And they are looking for their own salvation. The dedication that you see in their eyes when they are going for their death is remarkable. This is what we need to pay attention to. Those guys are not committing their life to Osama bin Laden. They are not committing their life to ISIS. They are not committing their life to Al-Shabaab or any other organization on earth. They are committing their life to their God to gain his acceptance and to buy their own salvation. That is the point.
Mark, you mentioned, and this is something that you noticed right away because of these recent pictures of these terrorists that were caught on camera at the Brussels airport. You said the confidence you see of those guys walking calmly to their own death as they push their carts. They are not trying to blow up the airport or make the ISIS leader proud. No, they are doing it to please their own Allah so that they can gain salvation. So it's a fast forward because of their years of being in sin. Now they're going to rectify it by doing these last acts, correct?
Yes, 100% accurate.
Yeah.
You have to think about it this way. The message that was found on the computer of one of those terrorists of the last attack in Brussels said this: they are about to arrest us. We will go and act. Normally, in a normal human being, anywhere, any place, any country, usually, a criminal who is about to be arrested runs for his life to try to enjoy more freedom, even a hidden freedom. Those guys was about to be arrested, and they did something that no human being else can do. They run for their own death. So they run from being arrested to die. How any other human being you find can do that?
It's just amazing. This is what throws everyone off. And you've said multiple times on our interviews that Islam is 20% religion and 80% an ideology. And one of the things that we want to mention is that Muslims are the first victims of Islam.
Again, pay attention and look into, any kind of criminal history. You are not going to find one person that is about to be arrested. Instead of being arrested, he goes and blows himself up. The only example that comes to mind is some criminals has been barricaded in one hotel room or in a house, and they are about to be arrested, and they go out in a blaze of glory, where they go out and try to shoot the police, so the police shoot them back and go out in a blaze of glory. But you are not dealing with this. You are dealing with somebody who has the right and the freedom to make a different choice and run away for another country, another place, and they didn't choose that. They were not cornered. They were just about, feeling that they are about to be arrested, and they have all the choices. They are renting a home. They can jump in their car, take a cab, and leave the country altogether. But they did not do that. They choose to go to die. So you have to find out psychologically and emotionally, why would a person decide that he's going to not take his chances and live in freedom, but die? This is the question that any expert out there need to answer. And I wish President Obama would answer to us why he says it's not Islam that's the problem. Islam is the problem. Islam is that is glorifying death, glorifying jihad, and dying for the cause as the only assurance of salvation. This is why all of those terrorists doing the same thing. We keep on chasing affiliation with a terrorist organization. We are chasing weapons that is hidden somewhere and somewhere. We are dealing with people who are doing whatever it takes to die. Then The question is, why?
Exactly, and in your first booklet, the series of 8, the first one, the Insider's View of Islam. I love how you just take the top 25 questions, and we're going to come back and do more of these. But number 3, what is stealth jihad? And you talk about jihad refers to the struggle to make Islam dominant in the world, and this is the next thing that we're going to talk about. But all of your questions are common sense. It's written such that you can understand it, and it's great. And you can get them online at globalfaithinstitute.org. We've got Dr. Mark Christian on with the Global Faith Institute. He's the president and founder of it. We'll give you a break and then come right back. Mark, stay with us. We'll be right back. Sunrise with Craig on News Radio 880 KCMX. Back after this quick break. Morning, everyone. 33 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Sunrise with Craig on News Radio 880 KCMX, and continuing with Dr. Mark Christian, the executive director and founder of the Global Faith Institute. Their website, you can get to either globalfaith.org or globalfaithinstitute.org. But Dr. Mark Christian has put out a series of booklets, 8 in fact. There's an 8-part series, and the first one we're featuring today. I've had these. We've been picking pieces from all of them, and it's just fascinating. But book 1, An Insider's View of Islam, and we got over to question number 3, what is stealth jihad? Mark, it's great to have you on the program. Talk about this stealth jihad and America in particular. This is they're infiltrating America.
They are infiltrating everywhere. I'm talking about the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is not just an organization, but a platform that is being established 80-something years ago. Until today, it is the platform that propagates the message of Islam, that propagates the message of necessity to build a theocratic system under the Islamic leadership. And they have been waging stealth jihad and civilization jihad and bloody jihad and real fight throughout the years. And civilization or stealth jihad goes in hand with the fight. And the second spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, who's actually put those together and tied them together and said, you cannot fight with one arm of jihad, you have to have both at the same time. And what is that meaning of civilization jihad? In a nutshell, if you want to go into a country or a new region, as Islam says, a new region that is not conquered by Islam yet, they study the culture of that country or that region very well. They see the strength and the weakness. They see the doors and the gaps into that society. And then they find out the best ways to put a strategy to conquer. And usually they go with the weak to make them strong and more strength to the weakness of that region so they can build alliance forever. And then from that point on, they find a gate and a door into the society that will build up to take over that society over time. This is what stealth jihad is and civilization jihad is.
And you bring up in your book, this is something else, economic jihad.
Yes.
I mean,
it's very crucial. See, money is an important tool, and every American knows that very well. But the Muslim Brotherhood as well understood very well that money is crucial. And to make gains and to make losses is crucial into civilization jihad. So they understand very well that any mission will not be accomplished without having the money and the control of economies. And this is why you have the Sharia law kind of abiding, institutions and so forth. And to be honest, any mission would not succeed without money. Even look at the American Revolution. You look at the establishment of America, and the founding fathers say they are willing, and they actually did follow through by their commitment, saying that they're going to put the money where their mouth is, and they're going to sacrifice everything that they have to establish their goals. And this is the same way the Muslim Brotherhood is thinking. I'm not trying to make a comparison. I'm just showing, control of economics and to sacrifice money is crucial for any mission to be accomplished. And civilization jihad using economic institutions, and is very crucial to civilization jihad. I really would love people to pay attention to that because it's very crucial.
You know, it's interesting. This book is so just thick, full of information, and it's based off of course, knowledge, experience, because you were a childhood imam. You'd memorized 2/3 of the Quran by the age you were 14, and you were there because of your family, deep into raised in Egypt and in throughout the Muslim Brotherhood. No one would know better than you. And now that you're a born-again Christian, you've written these books. Mark, this interesting question number 20. Why can't we coexist with Sharia law? And I think I saw this study. What was it? Out of 9,000 Muslims, 65% of them wanted the law of the Quran, which basically they preferred Sharia. This is probably the number one nugget that I can't believe.
It is very simple. We cannot coexist with Sharia law because Sharia law rejects the idea of coexisting. It is not our choice to coexist with Sharia law. Sharia law decided that there is no chance for us to coexist with it. Sharia law is built and put together to override any other law of any land and to make the word of Allah supreme and superior to any human being on earth. This is the Sharia law in a nutshell as well. I really wish people can start understanding. And yes, Islamists usually try to talk about Sharia law. This is our way of life. It's very similar to the Mosaic law of the Old Testament and so forth. Here is something big difference, okay? The Mosaic law and the Old Testament law was meant for the Jews to govern themselves. Sharia law is meant to govern everybody. There is no limit of race, culture, country, background, color skin, or anything. Sharia law is meant not to be bound by any borders or by any kind of religion. Sharia law is not meant to govern Muslims. It is meant to govern every human being on earth.
Wow, Mark, what I'm just shocked in that this infiltration, because our elected officials, our leaders, they have to know this, they have to see this, but yet we talk about the power of affiliation, the power of being connected with, and then you realize the governing force is Sharia law. It's like oil and water. It simply will not mix no matter how well or how much you want it to. I just can't believe that our elected officials have basically sold us out on this.
You can't. It's very similar to this. I try to make examples, American examples, people can understand. You know, we have the constitutions that govern America, right?
Correct.
Can we change the constitution over time?
With amendments in the Congress, yes.
Okay. In Islam, it's very similar. You cannot change the ruling of Islam. Islam does not allow any kind of progression into their ideology. We have ways to change our constitution by amending in front of the Congress. There is no Congress in Islam. There is no priesthood in Islam. Whatever has been put together by Muhammad cannot be changed. As if we stopped at what George Washington said and we cannot change it a bit. Got that point?
Well, yeah, because...
Second thing is... Go ahead.
Well, Mark, what I was going to say is that Sharia law is from Allah. It is supreme and cannot be changed.
Exactly. So no human being can change it. The only way that was put together by Muhammad, and Muhammad is dead, right? So Allah spoke to Muhammad, told him how he's supposed to govern, and this is the law. Nobody else can have this kind of establishment with Allah in their mindset. So Muhammad is dead. This means the law is over. It is finished. It is done. He is seen. He is the end of it. Nobody can amend. Nobody can put anything after Muhammad's death. This is number one. Number two, here is what Sharia law is the problem with the Sharia law. You know, imagine the Constitution of America is not meant to govern America, but is meant to govern the whole planet. Can we do that? Can we push our Constitution on every corner of earth?
Wow. No, of course not.
Because it is our Constitution. Every country has its way to govern itself, right? We can make suggestions. We can show our example of how we are living over here in a freedom and liberty and so forth. And people have the choice to pick it up or not, right? But we cannot push it on others. Sharia law is actually pushed on others. It is not the choice of America or Germany or Lebanon or Saudi Arabia or Egypt to choose which law they're supposed to govern with. It is the choice of Allah himself, and Muslims has to die for the cause to push Sharia law on every corner of the planet. As simple as that.
I know it. You're amazing. And, our founding fathers, John Adams saw this in his quote, when he talked about Judeo-Christianity and Judeo-Christian values, and he said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. That's why the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution in this country, is the only one in the world.
Exactly. But can you imagine that Adam said, you know what, we need to apply this Constitution to America, and then we need to take it to every corner of the earth, and so we can apply our Constitution to every land. Can you imagine if he said that?
It wouldn't work, but just like you said, that's the
this
comparison.
Is what Muhammad said.
That's the comparison.
Muhammad said, this is my Constitution, this is how I am going to apply it to my country, and you know what, guess what? We're going to take it to apply it to every corner of the planet.
Wow, it's amazing, Mark, because this is the goal of Islam, is to have world domination, and you just wonder where the values of our leaders are. Mark, we're out of time, but it's fascinating, and I so appreciate, we got through a large portion of the book, but there's still so much. This is just the first of 8 Dr. Mark Christian has put out on his website, globalfaithinstitute.org. The first one is titled An Insider's View of Islam and the Top 25 Questions. It's just fascinating, especially from the aspect of where Dr. Mark has come from. And Mark, it's just fantastic. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know this article just came out, this last one, and we posted your article up on our Facebook page. This one that you were featured in, this 2,000 ticking time bombs in the United States. It's a fascinating article, ladies and gentlemen. I encourage everyone to get to our Facebook page and check all of that out, because it truly is telling us what we, the people here in America, are facing. It's so important. Mark, thank you so much.
I wish people go to our website as well, globalfaith.org,
Yes.
and to check out all the resources over there, from radio interviews to articles that have been put together, and also to pick one of those booklets to start reading and start understanding. It is put in a very simple format, Q&A, where you get your question answered, and there are a small number of questions in every booklet. So it's very easy to read, very simple to understand. I appreciate you mentioning it today.
Yeah,
on your show.
No, you're absolutely right, Mark. It's a wealth of knowledge, and we're just going to continue until Americans understand what we're up against. And you're absolutely right. Get to globalfaith.org. Check that. There's just the website's full of information. And then if you can support and see that, why, we appreciate that. All right, Mark, got to run. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Wow, just unbelievable featured. We're so fortunate to have him on the program. He's featured around the nation with commentary and dialogue, and you just don't get any better than something like that. Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute. All right, let's get to a break. We'll come right back. We'll take your calls. Woo! News Radio 880 KCMX, Sunrise with Craig. Back after this quick break. I'll be posting some more on the Facebook while I'm off, ABC Sports, in a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back. Happy Monday, everyone. 47 degrees, on its way up to 61.